Welcome to Trionic 7, the YouTube channel for Saab enthusiasts. I'm Jonathan and I'm standing here with a 2007 Saab 9.5 Linear. And recently I've gotten several questions asking me how I wash my Saab engine. And I know this channel isn't really a detailing channel, but I thought I'd make a full detailing video for you here. And if you want more of these types of videos on cleaning and stuff, just leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. So I think this car is a good example for cleaning and detailing the engine bay of a Saab 9.5 because this engine is dirty. As far as I know, this engine has never been cleaned, which means that it's been 9 years since 2007 when this car was made. So what you're looking at currently is 9 years of dirt, and we're gonna make it a lot cleaner today. Now the first question is, why would you want to clean the engine in the first place? Well, first of all, I like having a nice clean engine. It really looks nice to look at. But also, if you want to do some maintenance, I often go into the engine bay and need to reach behind the engine and maybe change some stuff, and then it's really nice to have a clean engine because you don't get your hands very dirty. So in this process we'll be spraying water into the engine bay, and to many this sounds really strange, but if you think about it, these engines are made to be wet. There's nothing covering the engine from underneath, and when you drive through rain and snow and puddles, the engine will get wet. There's just one thing I usually take into consideration when I wash a Saab 9.5 engine, and that is the DI cassette. Water can leak by the DI cassette and down into the spark plug wells, and if those get filled with water and you then start the engine, you might damage your DI cassette. So what I usually do, which is my only precaution, is to put a piece of plastic over the engine block itself. But all the other things, I'm not covering anything of the electrical stuff. Just be sure you have your battery cover on. There's one more consideration here. You want the engine not to be very hot. This car is a turbocharged engine, and you don't want to get cold water on your hot turbo. So I usually feel on the engine block and make sure it's not too hot. And the next step is to know which products to use. This is a very dirty engine, so I'll be using a heavy-duty degreaser. It's a petroleum-based degreaser, which means it should be applied on the engine when it's dry. So you don't want anything wet, because a petroleum-based degreaser doesn't really mix with water. In Swedish, this one is called kallavfettning. But remember, if you use this, I recommend that you use car soap afterwards on all the painted surfaces, just to get all the excess degreaser away, because it can be a bit harsh. Normally I would use a normal alkaline-based degreaser, and this is the type of degreaser you find on your local auto parts store or at the gas station. So in Swedish this is called alikalisk avfettning, and I actually buy this in concentrate in bulk, and I dilute this 4:1, so 1 part of degreaser and 4 parts of water, which makes this very economical to use. Then for the last step, an optional step, I use dressing to make all the plastic parts and plastic trim look nice and shiny. Not too shiny though, I just want this sort of sheen that came from the factory. So do not use heavy silicone-based dressings, because they just look awful and they make the surface sticky and makes it attract dirt. So this is a water-based dressing that I like. It's called the BBV Advance White Dressing, but you can use almost any water-based dressing there is. There's nothing magical about this one. So I'll start with the petroleum-based degreaser, and then rinse it off, and then go on with this one, rinse it off, and then finish with the dressing. You'll also need a good set of brushes. This is just a normal cheap car brush, which I will use for most of the surfaces, but then you can also use one of these. It's actually a lug nut brush to get to the really tricky parts. Of course, you also want access to water and a water hose, and I'm using one of these cheap trigger sprayers, which gives me a nice shower type of spray, not too harsh. You could also use a high pressure washer, but I think this works fine. I don't see the point actually of using a high pressure jet. That can actually damage the electrical components if you put too much water pressure into the electrical cables. I'll also wash the hood liner and apply degreaser and brush it off, including the inside of the hood. Remember that when driving on the highway, dirt is forced into here. This is why it's so much dirt in the front. So we'll be cleaning all of this. Okay, I start with a red bottle. Again, this is the petroleum-based degreaser, and this has the advantage that it doesn't really evaporate. So even though it's a bit sunny, I don't have to hurry so much in the sunny parts because it doesn't evaporate. So let's begin. We don't want to get everything covered up. You also want to cover the hood liner. Now we're gonna let this sit for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Now if we look closer we can see that the petroleum-based degreaser is starting to break down the dirt. The bad thing about the petroleum-based degreaser is that it usually smells, but this is a rather high quality product so it doesn't smell too bad. Yet I wouldn't use this as cologne, so to say. You also want to get all these door jambs here and the mechanisms clean from all the dirt. So as always, when cleaning, we combine chemistry, which is the degreaser, with some mechanical degreasing, the brush. So I'll now go around and agitate the dirt softly with this soft car brush. So it's been a few minutes and the degreaser has been breaking down the dirt, and now we'll go over it with the water hose to hose it down. And remember, always begin hosing down from the bottom and up. This sounds a bit strange at first, but it's actually to make sure that the water meets the degreaser at its fullest strength. So we don't start from the top and then make water drip down and rinse something away a little at a time. Instead we do it from the bottom up. Okay, the first round is done. It's not fully clean yet, but I think we got 80% of the dirt away with this first step. So while it still looks a bit dirty in my opinion, it's much better than before. So now it's time for the alkaline degreaser, sort of the normal style degreaser you find in the stores. Again, diluted 4:1, and I'm just gonna go over it. And since this degreaser is water-based, you will need to hurry up before it dries out. You do not want to dry this at all. Okay, time to agitate with the brush. You can really see the degreaser now lifting up all the loose dirt and making it an emulsion with the water. So now that I've been agitating, I'm gonna add a little bit more degreaser and then we're gonna hose it off with water. So now that we hosed off the engine a second time, we're mostly done. I see a few parts where I can go over and do some more, just some details. If you want, you can go back and check if, for instance, the front of the engine here is a bit dirty, or in the mechanism for the hood. Just go over it and see if there's anything you missed. Okay, and that's the washing part of it all. The engine bay is, in my opinion, clean. Sure, there's a few spots here and there, but this is just a daily driver and not a show car at all. So here's what the plastic looks like dry. It's not bad, but I can make it a little bit better. And I'm gonna use again this water-based dressing. Spray it all over. It's real simple to use. And it doesn't matter that it's a bit wet. And I don't want to get the dressing dried in, so right away I'm using a microfiber cloth to wipe the excess off. Okay, so the engine is clean with the exception of the valve cover and the DI cassette. If I have some more time after the video, I might take a sponge and just go over it gently, just to make sure it doesn't get water into the spark plug wells. However, if you do have access to pressurized air, then you can actually wash without consideration of the DI cassette, and when you're done, you lift up the cassette and use pressurized air to blow the underside dry to get all the water out of the holes. So this is what the engine looks like now after cleaning and applying dressing. You see, for instance, the big battery cover here. It's not super shiny, but has got this nice sheen, just as if it came out from the factory yesterday. And that's the shine I like from my dressings. Also, very importantly in my opinion, is this front part here of the hood that usually gets very dirty from the highway. This has now been cleaned off too. You can also see this upper engine cover. It also has this nice black sheen, as well as this cowl here just before the windshield. So this is how it looked before, and this is the after. We're not really done yet though. We first want to start the engine and make it run up to operating temperature. So first make sure that no excess water is standing somewhere bad, like on the block or in the DI cassette. And then we start up the car. So for the first minute the car might sound a little uneven, but just let it run for 5 or 10 minutes until the engine gets up to operating temperature. And this will also help dry off the engine because it's warm and the water will evaporate. Okay, so I've repositioned the car slightly so you can get a better view of everything in the sun. Now you see what I'm talking about with the black trim looking really good. Sure, it's not in perfect condition, there's a few scratches on there, but at least the black parts look amazing. And now the engine is at operating temperature and the cooling fan has started, so we can now turn off the engine. And there you have it. That's my quick routine for cleaning the engine in a Saab 9.5. Again, this is the way I do it. There's other ways of doing it. I like this way because it's quick and simple and it doesn't cost much in terms of product and time. I know detailing is a very sensitive subject on YouTube and there's surely gonna be trolls with other opinions, but be sure to stay civil down in the comments. Also, I'm just a normal guy with a car and a wrench, so I'm not a professional detailer at all. If you have anything to add to the washing procedure, please do so below, but do it respectfully. So this was a first for Trionic 7, a detailing video. Please let me know down below if you like this type of content or if you don't want any more detailing videos. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube or follow us on social media. As always, we have Google+, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit and Instagram. And I will see you in the next Saab video. Bye bye.